There are a lot of variables that measure the success of video games throughout the video game industry. You've got the size of the player base, esports, how good the story is, they release a game every year. Did your IGN Machinima Kotaku Sashimi Wasabi reviews give it a thumbs up? There are plenty of people, videos, and articles that let gamers know whether a game is successful or not. This is probably going to be one of them too. But there's always this one itsy bitsy tiny little polka dot bikini little bitty factor that always lets me know if a game is a success to me. Replayability. Oh my god, did he really just say that? Now I try and live by a general rule that if I can get an hour for every dollar I spent on a video game, it's probably a good game. But those numbers are generally skewed by games like CSGO, Call of Duty, or Overwatch, where you're obviously going to play the shit out of them round after round. It's kind of how the game is designed, and if you were to look at my CS hours, you would be disgusted. But all those games I mentioned, they live in their own multiplayer realm that kind of plays to a certain demographic of video gamers. And instead in this video, I want to talk about the replayability of story-focused games or RPG games, just kind of experiences that you have. And personally, with single-player games, I fucking love to replay them. And in my Violence in Video Games video I made a couple weeks back, I talk about how I play Ocarina of Time every year. And it's true, I really do, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's a good fucking game. And while there's nothing quite like experiencing Breath of the Wild for the first time, shit dog, this game is pretty fucking sweet. But replaying video games can further add to the experience that you have with the game. And revisiting a game with the experience and skills that you've gained through beating a game and spending hours on it, like Breath of the Wild, is like looking at the first bit of a game with a new lens. You find puzzles, hidden areas, and new ways to explore the world around you that you didn't realize you could do until you were about 40 hours into the game. Finding some really cool shit that you missed in your first playthrough can really add to the fun and enjoyment that a game provides you with the second, third, or fourth, or 69th time around. Nice. And this isn't by accident either. I'm not a video game developer, so I can't really say whether or not this theory is true, but I'm gonna tell you it anyway. When you're making a game like, say, The Witcher 3, you have to know that you're making a kick-ass game. And people are gonna keep picking up that game again and again and again and again, and it don't stop coming.
And they don't stop coming, 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 and they don't stop coming.
And CD Projekt Red didn't sink years into a game that detailed and fun without realizing the success it was going to have. Not only was the story good, but so was exploration, side quests, mini games, and collectibles. Like, this game was the fucking tits. And even though swinging your silver dangle around felt like you were in the Nutcracker Ballet, it was still pretty cool to walk around and slice some zombies and some fucking Beastie Boys. So when developers make games like this, they have to know that their game is going to be the titties. And you can generally tell when that is going to be the case. And I know that like a bunch of people warning about pre-orders and stuff, but with certain developers you just know that they're going to make a quality game because they're not pushing it out year after year after year. They're generally working on it and genuinely care about the product they're going to put out. You know, unless they lie and shit. And since you won't shut up about it, fine, we can talk about The Witcher, gosh. When The Witcher 3 came out during my senior year of college, it single-handedly destroyed my GPA. If I was in class, I was thinking about killing those bog witches. If I was at work, I was thinking about fighting that giant. And if I was on a date, I was thinking about... you get the idea. This game grabbed me by the dangle and was like, bro, you're living in this world for a little bit, so put on your J's, eat some Lays, and get ready to lose some days. And when this game first came out, I was playing it on my tiny little monitor, and I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm gonna put this on my living room TV, and I'm glad that I did. And my roommate, who doesn't really play story-based games, he's more of a League of Legends player, he'd sit with me for hours while I played through The Witcher and just sort of experience it with me. And you know, we both became so invested in the characters that we'd get ready to go to the bar on like a Friday night, and we'd find a way to get Wendy's spicy nugs and play The Witcher instead. Because we were both so invested in the game, and bars are just way too expensive. Ooh, that's a spicy nugget. And so while I was exploring this game, it really felt better than real life at times, and in some ways it was, because I didn't have a sword yet. And then after about, 70 hours, we eventually beat the game. I laughed, I cried, I had to fight this toad-looking guy. When I beat the game and I set it down for a little bit, and when I rebooted, I saw something. What is this? New Game Plus? Yeah, okay. And I restarted the game and I played like another 70 to 100 hours over the next couple weeks. It was addicting. Now let me tell you a little secret. Come close. Closer. 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 You don't put New Game Plus into your game unless you know that people are going to play it again. And with games that are as big and filled with exploration and side quests like The Witcher, you're going to want to give it another go, generally on a higher difficulty or take a different path or some shit. Now, New Game Plus is generally an addition that RPG games choose, and it's not always just RPG games, but, it's more common in RPG than it is for, like, shooter boys, and that's okay. While The Witcher has a really good story and gameplay mechanics, at its heart, it's really just a card game with a bigger world built around it. There's so much to do and so much to see, there's really nothing wrong with taking the back streets. You really aren't going to take it all out in one playthrough. And that's fine. There's a New Game Plus for a reason. It's not a bad addition. I want to replay RPGs. I want to get as much as I can out of a game that I spent money on. And games like The Witcher will provide me with endless opportunities to do so. And while RPG games are cool, it's not the only medium in which, a replayability can be added to a video game. While other games offer hidden areas, exploration, side quests, and collectibles, it isn't necessary to have any of those aspects to have a game be replayable. And I know that having all those additions are a super big trend in video games right now. It kind of is annoying a little bit, but I understand the appeal to it because it makes you play the game more and developers will get more money. But you don't need those things. You might be thinking, what? It can't be, Hansi. Who wants to experience the same thing again and again in the video games? I don't know why you're German, but fucking tighten your lederhosen for this one. I want to introduce you to my friend, The Last of Us. The Last of Us plays like a novel, like it really does, instead of a video game. It's a book that's actually a movie, that's actually a video game, that's actually all inside your head because the universe is just your imagination and nothing actually exists.
Oh my God!
No, but for real, The Last of Us acts as a game that has unlimited replayability, and I'm about to tell you why.
Can we please just get on with it? Here. Let's get on with it.
It's not because you can explore, do side quests, or experience it in any other way than it's intended, because you can't do any of that. They just aren't in the game. Really where it shines is its story, and anyone who's played that game can vouch for it. It also has really smooth mechanics that you can do, the gunplay is pretty sweet. Look at this. Kaboom! Pop! Skippity poppity pow! Jump! You see, video games are like books, movies, and television in that they're art. Because you inject yourself into the experience, and it's something that, you hold the experience on your own. It's not too crazy to say that the things that happen in the games are happening to you, at least on an emotional level. And I don't mean to say that if you get stabbed in the game, you get stabbed in real life, although that would be pretty fucking metal. But the emotions you experience and the heartfelt times and moments, those are all the same. You were experiencing those. This is especially the case in The Last of Us, because even though you play as Ellen Page and Viggo Mortensen, it's really you that's going through the experience. I remember the drop in my stomach when Tess revealed that she was gonna die. I about shit my pants when I was in the basement of the hotel and I turned that generator on, and all you hear is See, it hits you in the gut when you see a note about a guy sparing kids from an infection, and you see a bunch of kids covered by a sheet inside the sewers. That is storytelling from the environment that just fucking nails you. You know, and I especially remember when you're filled with anger and trauma when this fucking guy is trying to cop a feel on Ellen Page and also maybe probably definitely eat you. This game is filled with both small and big moments that completely suck you in. Every bit of the game hits you like a ton of bricks. Like, literally. You know, the story impacted me on such a human level that I've only experienced the same feeling in a few select video games. And even though I know exactly what's going to happen with Sam and Henry in the radio tower, I still go through the game time and time again because it touches me on a deeper level. It's a piece of art instead of just another game where you buy the same copy, the same reskin of the game every year. And do you know what they say when you take art out of video games? You get video games. My point in praising The Last of Us is that you don't need to have an open world, exploration, side quest filled video game to make a game replayable. Those things are nice, but they aren't necessary for a game to be successful. The Last of Us has so many simple features and extremely railroaded storyline, but I still come back to it time and time again because it tells a good story. It hits me in the emotion gland over and over again. And that's what good single-player video games should do most of all. They should make you care. I see so many video games focus on certain gameplay features or aspects or reskins or releases that they lose sight of what they're trying to do. Tell you a story. You know, The Witcher was about many things, like saving the world from damnation and whatever the fuck this guy is. But really, it's deeper than that. It's all about this odd family of misfits and outcasts saving each other, both literally and figuratively, which is what sticks with you and how you remember the game. The Last of Us started as a mission to get Ellie from one group of Firefly terrorists to the next, and it's not even about the relationship along the way. It's about facing the harshness of reality. You know, Joel has gone through so much trauma over the past 20 years after the outbreak of the infection that he tells Ellie that she needs to find something to fight for. But it's ironic because he doesn't really have anything to fight for anymore. And then as the game progresses, Joel finally does find that thing through Ellie, but when she's about to be taken away from him, he goes batshit crazy and kills everybody. People get upset about the ending, but life isn't always about the greater good. Human beings are selfish, greedy, and evil, but they're also good, caring, and loving individuals. We're a mixed bag. And so when I see Joel go crazy on those doctors, like, that just makes sense to me. The Last of Us is about being a human being in a shitty situation. You know what? Some developers, Bethesda and EA, what they fail to realize is that you don't need to release DLC after DLC or game after game every year to keep people playing your game. While new content is great and new games are awesome, people will continue to play your game if you make it engaging and interesting and actually work on it. Developers, namely developers who make single-player games that want to go down in history, should focus on reaching gamers at their most intimate and human level, and that's through stories. And if you aren't trying to tell a story or convey a message through your video game, then what are you even trying to do? Like, I get that making money is important, but like, you'll make so much more money if you make an engaging game. Replayability has such an awesome effect on video game players, and it sticks with me personally because I have such a close attachment to video games. Replaying video games, it's just like a favorite pastime of mine. It's really nice when I find a game that touches me on such a personal level that it's something I'll play for the rest of my life. And it's games like this that I can't wait to show like my future son or daughter because they had such an impact on my childhood and my life that I have no doubt it would do the same for them. You know, at the end of the day, you shouldn't just make game after game just to make money. People are getting upset about that and they don't want to spend more money than they have to. So I'd much rather, see a Call of Duty game that gets released every like 3-4 years that actually has care and attention to detail, like the Modern Warfare series. Like, I can replay that series time and time again, but I ain't gonna play Ghosts or the World War II one, like that one sucks because you didn't care. You're just capitalizing on current trend. And I know that it didn't you know, talk about The Last of Us or The Witcher in depth because I'd like to make videos about those games later on. I just wanted to show that I replay those games. And if you actually liked this content, it would be a huge help if you liked and shared it with people. You don't even gotta subscribe. I just want people to watch this because I like talking about video games. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll make another video soon. I'll kiss you guys later.